2 for the Great Iron Survivor Hackathon. The team is building an agentic travel app, but along the way, each individual is learning new stuff about AI, about services, and about other things that they haven't learned before, like module federation. But today is an opportunity for them to present what they've learned, what they're trying to implement, and all the above. So this is kind of just like an opportunity for them to showcase their talents and be able to speak about what they're trying to achieve. Um, and also with this hackathon, we're sponsored by Zephyr Cloud, Get Kraken, and Front End Mentor. Graciously, they have provided us some sponsorship to give away some prizes and some cash to these individuals that will be participating in the hackathon. Um, Number one for me is just to have everybody that participates to learn something about AI, because AI is ever changing and it is moving really quickly. I know just today, like Anthropic announced, what was it, Claude Code? No, Claude. What was it? What did they call it?
Co-work.
Claude Cowork. Yeah, and it's just like, what are they gonna announce next week? It's just like every week is something new, so falling behind really quickly. So all the things we're learning the fundamentals of how to build AI agents, how to build MCP servers, how do they talk together, and also just like how to prompt it and work with it properly. But without further ado, we're gonna move on to the sprint demos. First person we have is Hector. All right, let me see if this is gonna work, Hector. Okay, go ahead and share your screen.
Okay. Okay, there. Can you see my screen?
Yep. Hold on. Okay, Amen is there. let me hide him. Okay, next person, Curly. Hold on. Let me hide her. Okay, there we go. I don't know why it works that way, but it does. All right, we're gonna go.
Okay, so hi, my name is Hector. What I'm presenting today is the start of our travel app. Since we have a bunch of different developers with a bunch of different backgrounds, we decided to have a mix of like uh, TypeScript and Python. So we decided to use Docker in order to containerize different components of the app. So you can see here we have 4 different parts of the app: the web component, we have TypeScript agents, Python agents, and the backend API, which is just Node. And each one has a Docker file, which is just how uh, that container runs. I wasn't too familiar with Docker. I just recently started doing all this. In order to scale all this out, I was just going back and forth with Claude to figure out what we needed, and then this was all made by Claude Code, and I just like made little micro adjustments depending on what our group needed. So like just an example, like here's the web agent, the Docker file for the back end. Here's the index file. So you can see like the endpoints. So it'll have the root endpoint, and it has a bunch of different other endpoints where it handles the API stuff, and it prints out these fancy boxes that I might have to fix a little. But yeah, so this is how it runs. So Docker compose up, that will start each of the 4 containers. Give it a second.
And you said this is your first time working with Docker, correct?
Uh, yeah, I've never even touched Docker a week ago, and I already have all this
That's cool.
set up.
Yeah, Docker
Yeah,
is really good to set up infrastructure and then like have your team like have the same infra. We tried it in the first season of Grand Survivor, and we did not get very far. So it's nice to see
yeah,
you get this up
yeah.
and
Like,
running.
and just another example, like this sets up every single Docker container, but not everyone will need everything all at once. So like an example, instead of Docker Compose up, like if you're just working on the front end, you just use the web part. Or if you need the front end and the back end, you just do web and API gateway. Or if you're just working on the agents, you can just do Python agents. So that way, you don't need to have everything up and running all at the same time. Uh, so yeah, this is just an example. You can see here the Python agents are running, TypeScript agents, the back end. You can see some. Yeah, you can see some console logs and like the ports that they're open on. And in order to test that, I use an API, what they're called API calling tools. I use Bruno. Yeah, like right here. So this is just an example. So calling the main backend endpoint. If you call it, you could just get some basic information. This is all like boilerplate that Claude Code generated. This will all probably be replaced, or some of it will probably be removed. But yeah, this is how I would test my endpoint. So here's the API health, and you get the status. If we ever, um, like if the user wanted to search flights, this is the endpoint that we would do, and we would pass in the query. Right now, obviously, it's not working because nothing's really connected yet. But this is what would then call either the Python agent or the TypeScript agent, depending on what the user needs. So if they needed flights, let's say go to a TypeScript agent. This one works a little. This would search for flights, and these are just hard coded things that are on the back end. So the uh, TypeScript agent would find flights, return something like this, bring it back to a manager agent, and then bring it back to the backend, which will then show it to the user. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. So this is just like stub data, right? Mock data for now. And you guys gonna
Yeah,
be building it out.
yeah, yeah, like that would be.
And would those endpoints then would you create like an MCP server so that you can call those endpoints?
I don't know if we're gonna do that. Like from what I understand, MCPs are uh just for the LLMs to like be able to call tools, right? Like they expose tools to the
It could be APIs
LLMs.
too.
It could be.
Yeah,
Oh,
so it could
okay.
be tools, it could be APIs, like the ones you have. Like if it's the flight one, you can have like a flight MCP, or you can have one MCP that calls it all, and then has available methods that calls. And then when it calls the get flights method, it will go to that method and it will make the API call, and then it'll bring the data back. That way, you house the all the information in one place. To my
Mhm.
understanding, that's what the power of MCP is, because then when you use an agent to talk to the MCP server, then it has availability to all those resources already in one place, so that you don't have to, the agent then doesn't have to call multiple tokens, right? Multiple places to get information. It's going to go to one MCP server, get all the information, and bring it back. And so it saves you payload, because the MCP server is doing the heavy lifting and it's returning all the data you need. Like if it's like I need flights, hotel, and itinerary, whatever, the MCP server can kind of construct that together, put it into a format that you want, and then spit it back to the agent. And then now the agent made less calls um, to receive that information that you wanted. You might want to look into that. I am pretty sure that's how it works. I'm still learning this for myself, but that's to my understanding. Um, but yeah, that is ideal. That would be ideal
Mm.
to put that into the MCP
Uh,
server. Yeah, awesome. Let me bring everybody back. All right, I'm gonna switch it back. Cool. Any comments, questions for Hector? Jeremy, you're really dark. You're like this hidden. You can stay that way. It's like mysterious.
It's my camera. Hopefully it. I haven't used it all day, and I just turned it on, so hopefully it clears up. Yeah.
Any other engineers have used Docker here?
A little bit, but I
Little.
never fully grasp everything. I feel like I keep forgetting how to use it every time I have to use it.
Yeah, yeah. I dread using it, but like it does save a lot of onboarding and like getting the services up and running for sure. I'm just old school, so I like to build stuff from scratch. So, but Docker makes it so much easier because even at Microsoft, we have Docker containers for different teams, and you can just like host it on different servers, and it makes it a lot easier. But yeah, no, this is really good, Hector. Glad that you guys are diving into that because that's definitely a piece that you guys didn't have to do. But as working on the team, it's going to be really beneficial. Just like, hey, spin this Docker container up because what you can do is also update the Docker files, right? And then say, hey, pull down the latest changes for the Docker container and then spin it up. And then they all get the latest updates. So,
yeah. So not too used to like the internals of the Docker file, like what the actual file
yeah.
is like. It's a bit confusing, and like it kind of looks like GitHub Actions from when I was
Yes.
working on it previously.
Yeah, I think
But,
they're YAML
yeah.
files, right? Are they YAML files? I think they
Uh,
are.
It just says Docker file. There's no extension on
Oh,
it, but
they look like YAML files. So
there
that's
was like
how.
a YAML. There's a Docker Compose YAML file in the.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's very similar. Once you get used to it, then it's just like setup configuration and all that. So very cool. Thank you, Hector. Alex, you are next.
Can you all hear me pretty good?
Yes.
Sweet. Let me go ahead and share my screen.
Okay. Give me a few seconds to confirm.
Sweet.
Okay, hold on. Amen again. You speak and Alex speaks and you use your lips. Yeah,
All right.
me too.
So we are gathered here
Oh, hold on,
today.
hold on. Okay, there you go. I had to hide everybody.
All right, cool. Y'all can hear me pretty good.
Yep.
Sweet. So first off, my name's Alex, and I'm going to kind of go through and share a really cool trick that I didn't really come up with it. I was actually at a Austin Hack AI meetup, and I was chatting with this guy, and he kind of helped me come up with the idea. So I decided to like go home and try it out, and like it's honestly really cool, like what this can do, and it like really speeds things up when you're building with any AI tool that you use. Like this will work for anything like Claude Code, GitHub Copilot, Cursor, anything. And before I kind of dive into it, like one big thing that I learned is agents.md is exactly the same as the Claude.md file that Claude creates for you that it like auto reads. And I wouldn't be surprised if Claude actually goes this route because this agents.md file is the same, but it works for multiple different like AI chats and stuff. So in the project, I just kind of created it. And if for whatever reason the AI chat doesn't work with it, I'll just attach that at the beginning and be like, hey, read this, get up to speed on the project, and then I'll go from there. But the main thing I want to talk about is this folder right here that says AI sessions. And before I kind of like talk more into it, like, and I know some AI chats can do this, but not all of them, or at least not the cheaper ones. Like, I know, like me, I can't afford the more expensive ones. I kind of am like very limited. So this really works well across like any AI tool that you use, like in the terminal or in the chat. But if you kind of look over here, if you see this super long session that I have, and basically this entire session was me building out one of our biggest features where I would start out in the ask, and then the AI and I were brainstorming for quite a while. And then once we brainstormed the entire feature, I would swap over to plan things out one step at a time. And every time we planned out like step one, I would confirm everything, approve it, and then swap over to agent and say, all right, implement it. So that way I wasn't running into like any issues and having to reprompt, like because of the agent's file, I had a bunch of guardrails. But if you know from having a super long session and having to do that, it's pretty annoying having to start a new chat, because once the AI has a super long session is when it starts to make a lot of mistakes and it starts to hallucinate, because you're starting to hit your session limit for the AI, and the AI is starting to have way too much context to where it can't keep up with things. So that's why the best thing to do is to start a new chat, so that way you can refresh it and it can be strong again and continue. But it is really annoying have to start the new session, because you have to be like, hey, like, I know you don't remember what we just did. Like, if you look over here and like my controller, we made this controller, we did this, like we made this middleware, we made all these tools. And then if you look into here, like we made like 10 functions in our session. And then wasting all that time having to reprompt it in something, I came up with the thing, which is a session document that basically very detailed explains like the entire session that we had like 5 days ago at this point. And the best way that I do it is in that super long session at the end, I'm like, hey, I won't type it out just for time's sake, but in the AI chat, I'll be like, hey, like, take everything that we did, like all the planning, all the brainstorming, all the thought that went into the decisions, and then, yeah, all the planning, and then also everything that we like finalized and built, take everything and create a very detailed document of what we did, and then save that into the AI sessions, where that's just where I keep it. And then I just have it in the docs. So that way, when I come in a new chat here, I'm not having to tell it everything that we just did and like waste so many tokens trying to reprompt it and be like, no, that's not how you do it. Like, and then having to go back and reference and, you know, kind of go back and forth with it for like 30 minutes, trying to argue with it and be like, hey, no, this is actually what we did. So like, instead, like, I'll just delete it to show you. So I'll attach the session file that I created into the chat, and I'll be like, read this document. It is a document about a previous session we had. And then right from there, I could be like, oh, in the database, we changed the fire to let's do this. Do you know what I'm referring to? And what should we change? I'm not sure how well it's going to work now, because I honestly forgot what database table it's from and stuff. But if I were to look it up and be like that, but as you can see, it already understands what I'm talking about. What code should we change? But that's basically like an example, like the AI already understands that entire feature we built out. And honestly, like a few days ago, we changed some things in the database, and I was like, hey, these are the new database tables. Like, do we need to change anything? If so, like, what should we change? And it literally went into so many separate files and was like, boom, 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 we should change this. And then it was like, would you like me to change it? I looked it over and I was like, holy crap, like this is honestly perfect. But as you can see, it's like, oh, we got to change the types, we got to change the controller here, and then they use that as a reference. But it works really well. And a feature a few days ago, which probably would have taken me like an hour or two of prompting and brainstorming and all that, took me only like 30 seconds to implement because I had this file as reference for it. And I told it like what changed in the database, and it knew exactly like what to change in the code, and then went and changed it. And because of these guardrails, like it implemented it like pretty flawlessly, and I just had to skim over it and was like, yep, looks good. And then, but yeah.
Sweet. Let me bring people back. One at a time. Cool. I miss anybody? Nope. All right. Any questions? Comments? Please ask something. Anything.
You like the agents.md file you use it. You create it by asking Claude or whatever you're using to like summarize the current session, right? So like,
So the agents.md file is literally just the same as Claude MD. It's just the new like thing that works for multiple AI agents. And I honestly think Claude is probably going to go towards that because a lot of other
Uniforms
tools
it. Yeah.
yeah. Do you think like instead of maybe one long agents.md file, you can like separate it into like specific features you're working on? So like instead of an MD file that like explains your entire code base, you can have like an MD file for your back end or your front end, or maybe something that explains specific features so that Cloud doesn't have to read everything all at once.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that
Yeah.
could be a good next step.
Yeah, so right now I have it only in the back end.
Mhm.
What you can do is attach an agents MD file to like any project code base, like one in the back end, one in the front end, even one for like certain features if you want. And the AI tools will automatically find the closest agents file to like reference. So if you're working in there, but as far as the sessions, I haven't broken up to like very specific features. So that way, when I import the file, it knows exactly like all about that feature and like what all went into like building it. So if I ever need to like change anything with it, or if the database changes, or if anything else changes in the code base, I could just import that feature file for that specific feature and be like, hey, all these things like changed. Does anything needed to be changed for this specific feature? And it'll be like, yes, we have to change these 5 files and like these 10 functions, and then it'll go and do it.
Yeah, so from our friend Steven. Wait, can you see that on screen? Oh, man. There we go. Similar to those session files, I like to have AI document things about the product so I can use it for reference later. So yeah, similar fashion there. I agree. Like when you have so many context windows and then you go back and create a new window and you're like, hey, can you do this again? And you're like, do what? It's like, I know what you're talking about. And it does it separate. It does it differently. You're like, wait, hold on here. Can you just read the file and tell, like, learn what it's doing?
Yeah, because I remember starting a new chat and I was like, oh, by the way, can we change this? And it was like,
Yeah.
you want me to
Change
do
what?
what with who? And I'm like, oh. So just
Yeah, so
importing
that's
that. It's
smart.
like,
Yeah, because the other thing is when you document those things, it helps onboard other individuals like designers, developers. They understand what the features are, how it's built, right? Like I was alluding to early on in this hackathon is when you have good documentation for agents, it also helps humans too, because then individuals can come and read what the features are, what the app's about, right? Like separating all those out to back and front end. Um, that's how Copilot review works right now too. You before it was like here's one file, that's all you can do. Now it's like wait, like we can separate this into style guides for TypeScript, for React, for this, for that, and then you can parse it out, and that way it's more specific. And then it can say, well, if I don't need that, I'm not going to grab that file. But when I do, I'll go and read that as well. And so that way, the context for the agent is streamlined, and it's only going to do what it needs to do. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, for me too. I've been using an agent where the Claude file, and I every time I prompt it, like I'm doing features for my app, and I'm like, dude, can you just like commit every time I ask you to do something because you keep forgetting how to do stuff or how to revert things. And it did that, and it eventually learned. And like every time it does it, it just makes a commit. I'm like, great. Now, anytime I say, hey, I don't want that feature, revert it. It already knows. It already has the PR for it. It goes and looks at all the changes, and it does a great job at that. So until you have like that master set of rules, it's just gonna do whatever it wants to do.
yeah.
So it is, yeah, that's really smart. I like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, yeah, the agents file is more for like the code base structure and then the feature sessions. And like if you onboard someone
Yeah.
new, they could just import and then ask AI about it.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments for Alex? All right. We are moving on to Jeremy. Wait, who are you, Jeremy? Like you're so like bright now. Like you're not anonymous.
Yeah, my usually just need 5-10 minutes for the camera to
Awesome.
That's what I get for buying a refurbished laptop.
Hey, as long as it works, it works.
Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yeah, hold on. I gotta hide everybody.
Okay.
I have to figure out how this works because I don't understand. Like, it's always there, and then it goes like bottom top. Like how it's how you joined the studio, but it's like you're the one talking, so it should like autofocus to you. But I'll figure it out. All right, we're good.
We're good? Okay. So hi everyone, my name is Jeremy. I'm going to talk briefly today about the Zephyr benchmarking tool. I just started looking into this, so there's a lot that I don't know, but hopefully in the next week or two I can present on this again since I'm still kind of learning how this tooling works. But basically the idea is that you can create agents, give them tasks to execute, and then evaluate the results based on like some success metrics that you define. So this, I just pulled up the repository here that Zephyr provides, which this is the benchmarking tool, and I'm just focusing in on this suites directory. So this is where you can like define new scenarios that you want to test and like new agents that you want to test. These folders here are provided by Zephyr. So these are different suites that they provide that you can use for testing. So I'll just step through one of these examples today, and then hopefully like next week we can demo this product with like our actual one of like our flight agent or hotel agent. But when you go inside the suite, each suite is made up of a prompt and scenario section. Inside the scenario section, you can define different scenarios that you're interested in testing within the suite. And a lot of the detail, there's quite a bit of setup involved, goes into the scenario.yaml file. So I'm inside of this GitHub repo demo, and at the top you kind of provide a description, which here it says, this is a simple demonstration scenario that shows MCP integration. In action, this scenario uses the GitHub MCP server to perform repository operations. And then you give like additional details about what the agent should do. You give it success criteria. And then one of the ways that you can evaluate the agent is using this LLM judge. Another way is you can define like heuristics that give you more like fine-grained control over what kind of output you're expecting. But for this example, I'll just show this evaluation metric. So you're actually using model to kind of evaluate how an agent does. And in this category section, you're defining what it means for like an agent to successfully execute a task. So in this case, we want to make sure that it's using the MCP tools available to it. It defines an operation success. There's like a verification metric and a communication clarity metric. So I'll kind of show how you can use this. This is one way to use the tool. They have a CLI tool that you load up in your terminal. And this is the benchmarks. And there's a bunch of options you can use here. I haven't explored a lot of these. But to run a benchmark, there's two different ways you can run one. I'm going to go with this direct agents approach. And then it shows you the suites that you have defined in your directories. So you can choose to test all the suites if you want, or you can just select a particular suite. Do MCP demos. And then I'll test this GitHub repo demo. And then you have to choose, these are basically the prompts. There's like, they call them tiers. So like an L0 would be like a easy task for the LLM to implement. L1 is more difficult. L2 is even more difficult. So let's try the minimal task. And then you have to choose a model. So I'm gonna go with Open Router, you can search for free models. And there's quite a few here that I've never even heard of. NVIDIA, Xiaomi.
Choose the one with the best name.
Let's try Quen.
Yeah.
And now it's executing the benchmark using that model. It's going to be judged based on those criteria that were defined in that scenario YAML file. I don't quite understand all of the output it gives you, but hopefully this gives us something useful. Okay, so here you can see it ran against this is the suite, and this was a particular scenario we're looking at. L0 was like the basic prompt, and this was the model we used. And these were the 4 metrics that I showed you earlier. And it gives you a score from 1 to 5. So, and then it gives you like a status. All of these say they need work. I think indicating that it didn't provide like the best results inside of each of these categories. And so that's where the way you define the success metric really matters. So I think you really have to spend a lot of time thinking about the output that you want it to produce and what that means, you know, for whether it was successful or not successful. One other thing I'll show quickly, they have like a Next.js suite in here, and they have a ton of scenarios. So like if you want your agent to implement like a server component, You can test if it's doing that correctly. You can provide it like a workspace, and inside the workspace, you can define all the packages that it needs, like different components that it might need, and then it will use this workspace to evaluate what the agent should be doing. So this is like an added layer of configuration. So it seems like you can get really fine-tuned with a lot of what you're testing here. It almost feels like creating unit tests for LLMs in a way. At least that's how I'm kind of thinking about it. And it seems very powerful, but there's definitely a lot still to learn.
That's awesome. Yeah. So basically, this tool, yeah, the better you define things, the better results. But also, there's certain agents that do this persona better than other ones, right? That's why you benchmark different agents because they cost. Some are more cost effective and some aren't. Some do a better job and some don't. So now you weigh the benefits. Okay, if I could get a free model that does 50% of it the way there, do I take that? Or do I get a paid model that does 75% of what I want? Right. So now you have to outweigh the cost benefit there. Or can you get a free model to get up to 70%? And then you're like, you know what? This is really good. I'm going to use this agent model instead and create my persona based on that because it's going to be 70% accurate and it costs me nothing. Right. So it just really depends how you benchmark, how you kind of create your criteria, and how detailed you are. And you can provide it examples too, like not just documents, not just like content, but you can give it like context, like documents. I think you can feed it MCP servers and stuff too. I believe you can. I'm not sure. We'll have to look at some of the examples, but this is a way to create that agent so that it's cost effective or not that it's accurate at that point. Like let's say you need something super accurate, you know that Sonnet 4.5 is going to do it, and you're like, okay, for this one task we need Sonnet. Like it does it 95% really well composed to other models that does it only 50%. Like this one is exactly what we need. We're just going to have to eat up the costs and go with that model. So it really just comes down to this benchmarking, like figuring out, okay, what model is going to do what? How is it going to output? If you go back to your terminal, there was a score that it outputted to. You see right in the middle, it says 1.88 out of 10. Yeah. So that
Oh,
was
yeah.
that was really bad. So you gotta get a full overall score. And then you can go back and like tweak the content and stuff like that, and then it might get better. Or if there's like a model that you're like, you know what, this is really good, I just need to tweak it, then you can do that too. Or you're like, I don't want to rewrite that, I just want to find a model that's going to really work for us and move forward. So it's a great way to kind of just benchmark different models and kind of find out what best suits your needs, pretty much.
Yeah, no, it definitely seems very, very powerful. There's a lot that it can do.
Yeah, and I know that I've seen you in the Zephyr Discord asking them questions. That's fantastic because I don't know if the other team has done this yet. They should have, because this is going to help them create their agents as well. And the further we get along with this, the easier it's going to be to create these agents, have them available, and then now you're just adding, building the app on top of it. So. Cool. I'm gonna switch views. If you want to stop sharing, Jeremy. Awesome. Any questions, comments for Jeremy? Hey, positive comments are good too, guys. Like, you guys have been quiet these past two sprints. Y'all are super quiet. I need y'all to speak up.
Can you repeat the name of the tool again?
It's ZE benchmarks.
ZE
Yeah.
benchmarks. Okay.
Yeah, it's from Zephyr Cloud. They created it, and that's why we're using it too. So I will. Jeremy, can you post it back in the team chat for the group
Yeah.
group hackathon? that repo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was gonna also ask too, is this mostly for like your terminal like chat agents that you have, like the IDE tools, or is this something that you could use for like your app LLMs that you're building for like the users?
Yeah, you should be able to use it for both. So you can use it for the agents that you're creating and the personas. The setup seems like the trickiest part to figure out because there's a lot of detail you have to provide up front. But yeah, no, you definitely should be able to use it. For
Yeah.
that.
Yep. Both. So what you can do, Alex, is you can create the agent, and then you can use the agent and feed it into Claude or Copilot, go have Copilot, right, as an agent, and you can chat with it to test it out. And then when you're ready to put it in your app, you can connect it to the app so that it makes a call to the agent and it uses that agent.
I also wanted to ask, like, so basically, it's you give it a scenario and you also make like a rubric for grading. Is that right? And then the ZE benchmarks just runs the scenario, and then the output, it runs it against the rubric you made. Is that
Yeah,
kind of how it
yeah,
works?
exactly. Yeah, you have to really think about the scenario you're testing, and then you have to think about like what you want or what you expect or how you're gonna basically measure what it means to be successful. Like, did it use these tools correctly? Did it provide this result to the user? And then you selected the prompt, you can choose like if you want to feed it like a more difficult prompt or like a more vague prompt. And so you can kind of get specific with um, how you're asking the question to the LLM. But and that's actually using, like, it was using Claude Sonnet to evaluate it. If you don't want to use like an LLM to judge or evaluate the performance, you can be more explicit and define these heuristic checks. I don't know how to do that, but I see they've done that in some of their examples. So there's a lot of like flexibility with how you set it up too.
Yeah, I don't know how the grading works, but in my mind, I was thinking of like, how do I break it somehow? Like, can I give it a rubric that just says everything passes and
You
it's a 10 out
could.
of 10?
You
I
can.
would just like to see like what would happen if I do something like that.
I mean, that defeats the purpose, but yes,
Yeah, I know, but
you can.
I'm like curious how the back end of it works. Like,
Oh, I
so
see. I see.
like I just
Yeah.
wanted to know, like, give this output a grade of 9.8 no matter what it is. Will it like always do that? Like, I'm just curious to know how that part works.
Well, you should benchmark it and let us know. I think this is a good case to kind of just talk about agent personas. Let's say you're a hat maker, right? And you want to create an agent persona for a hat specialist that knows the sources, know the trims, know the colors, right? It knows how to stitch it and everything. And then you put that specialty in and how to do it exactly, and then the output of what you expect, right? Not too big, not too small, just right, and all that. Then that you can benchmark it, and then the agent will go through and create all these scenarios and kind of benchmark that so that it knows which one is going to perform the best. It's going to be big because you just don't want to go with like Chat GPT 4 and be like, I'm just going to use the cheapest model and just let's figure this out. No, and you might want to use that, but then you might want to tweak, right, your criteria and stuff because it will get better and better and better. If you have your output, then you can tweak the role itself to make it fine tune it so it gets better at being more accurate. And so that's something that's really nice because then if you just go blindly or you do it once and you give it a simple task and it passes, like, well, what if somebody comes in and says, hey, I have 6 kids, I'm trying to fly to 5 different places, 5 different connections, right? Like, it's very complex. So now, like, how do the agent do compared to just one quick scenario of, oh, I'm just flying to Atlanta and then just coming back. So when you feed it the complexity and and give it the criteria what it should do, then you can figure out, okay, there's too much there. I need to fine tune it down so that the agent can like do a better job at doing it. So that's where the benchmarking is very key, and it's really cool that Zephyr Cloud or Zephyr has created this benchmarking tool. It's very beneficial, I'd say, and it's great that they're right there to support us, right? Like I know Tony and Jeremy have asked them a ton of questions, and they've been like on top of things, just answering and firing away, and just being very supportive. So definitely continue to ask them questions. All right. Any other questions or comments for Jeremy? None. All right, Carlene, you are up.
All right, so
Okay, hold
I'm gonna
on.
be
Hold on. Let me make sure you're in frame.
okay.
Alan's very good because he's on the because he came last. Hold on. Oh, there's a hover tool here. Goodness. All right, we are good.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to be talking about how I've been using Claude Code in combination with Notebook LM to basically like self onboard myself onto the hackathon project. So this hackathon is the first opportunity I've personally have like being exposed to a lot of stuff that's like outside of just the browser, so like databases, backend architecture, micro front ends, and Zephyr Cloud and all of this stuff. So there were a lot of new concepts for me to learn, so that I could start understanding what's going on, because there was already some existing like idea of what the project was going to be by the time I joined the team. So I have Claude Code here, and what I first did was I used the init command, which, as a lot of you probably know, it's a command that lets Claude just scan the entire code base. So this is just the repo of the project here, and I had it, scan everything. It analyzes the files, and it, you know, basically summarizes everything to serve as its context, and it also records information like coding conventions, project structure, and stuff like that. Um, and then somewhere along the line, like I just had the idea of having Claude Code, output other MD files just for me to have a general idea of what was going on in different parts of the code. So uh, so for example, like I'd asked it to create MD files that also include diagrams, and using like mermaid diagrams because it is like text based at its core. But I had it uh, generate different, like for example, this is the actual project, and I have like some of these different MD files. But I'm going to go through how I did that first. So here's an example of a prompt. So it's a very simple prompt. It's just like, giving the context of like me being on the project, my experience, and creating MD files. I kind of cut this down just for the sake of the demo, but gave it 3 examples. Create a backend architecture guide, guide of how the app pulls different information from different sources to build the itinerary for a potential user of the app, and also creating a file to be able to feed into Notebook LM. And I'll go into that more in depth later. But so this is, so first of all, this is, oh, I should have showed you. So this is what the init command does. It produces a Claude.md file, which again, it's just a context that it uses to, keep itself on track. I'm not going to show you all the secrets, but yeah. And then, so from this prompt, after it produced the Claude.md file, it produced, so it made a docs folder and it produced these different MD files. So I can show you, for example, so it considered like everything I told it about my previous experience and created a whole guide, so complete with diagrams of how like the API calls happen, like what handles what, just for me to get a general idea of what was going on and like start building more accurate mental models. Because like you could ask Alex, like before I really had a very fragmented and not very clear idea of what was going on, because all of this was new to me, but this has really clarified a lot of things for me. Then another example, it's just, yeah, so like giving more guides on the data flow and how things work.
That's awesome. That's very complex
Yeah.
too, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's really impressive what it comes up with, especially with the diagrams. And I'll actually show you so this was a Zephyr guide I had it generate. So I just asked it to just tell me about Zephyr Cloud and the plugin and how it works inside of our project. Like what is going on? Like how does it handle the micro front end on both like the in the context of the development environment and like after it's deployed. So yeah, it just like tells you what exactly the plugin does and how it like facilitates all of the module
So you're
federation.
still on your
Oh,
IDE.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
bad. I have
No,
another.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, you know what? Let me have it. I thought it was sharing the whole window, but I probably accidentally. Okay, let me do
I had a feeling. Happens to me all the
Okay,
time.
I'll do the entire screen. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I should have done. Okay, yeah. So, okay, yeah. Yeah, so sorry. This was the Zephyr guide I was talking about
Got it.
earlier.
See it
Yeah, so yeah, what the plugin does, yeah, type generation. So like development mode, how things work with the micro front ends and how it relates to like the shell, where it gets that, where it pulls those in, and then in the remote configuration, like how it works in production mode. And I got to learn a lot about how Zephyr works at a high level, and even like information about like the edge distribution, like CDNs, like all
crazy.
this stuff. Yeah, it's really really cool.
Wait, so you only fed it a few sentences and it gave you all of this?
Yeah, so I can show you
Holy smokes.
which. Oh, I don't know
Don't
if
share your secrets.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about
No, it was really simple. I literally just told it something like, "Hey, I'd like to know about I want to know about like Zephyr Cloud, Zephyr plugin, and how it like relates to the project, or like what it does
Yeah.
in relation to the project." It was really simple, like one sentence.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
Like if you can you share that file? Oh, actually, give it to me because I wanna share it to the Zephyr team and be like, hey, look
Oh,
what
yeah.
AI did with like just a few prompts about your service. You know,
Yeah,
that's really really nifty that it knew it went in, and that's a testament to them too. They probably have. I don't know. I haven't looked at their documentation, but they probably have good documentation.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
the AI is able to create this stuff. So I wouldn't doubt it.
I was definitely inspired by, like, I obviously first went to the documentation and I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't really understand what's going on. Like, I needed some kind of foundation.
That's how I am too. I'm exactly the same. Like, dude, feed me this information in my, the way I interpret it, the way I can understand it. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's some other things I had to generate, like architecture, just like backend architecture, like the flow of everything. Yeah, really lots of diagrams, really useful. And then the database too. I had trouble like imagining the database, but it just made like the ERD, yeah, entity relationship diagrams of like everything. And yeah, really cool, like descriptions of all the pieces of data and the types and stuff. Really, really useful. And so this is like one part of what's helped me. But I personally like to try to take advantage of different formats of data. So, diagrams are really cool. Like I really like visual references, but I also enjoy I naturally just listen to a lot of podcasts, and I like being able to learn while I'm doing some mindless task. So I had the idea of taking what Claude Code could generate and feeding it into Notebook LM, because I've already used it for other things, but I thought it would be really useful for this as well, because it can generate like all sorts of like multimedia resources for learning. So what I did next was I had it generate. I could actually show you the prompt, I believe. Gosh, okay. But I had it. Oh, I missed it. I had it generate the basically a context file that I could. Yeah, so like I want to learn about the project using Notebook LM. Please create an MD file with the appropriate context it would need to create multimedia guides. So it created this whole MD file. It's pretty long. Oh, actually, it's not that long. Okay. Well, okay. I guess it is long for me, but it kind of summarized like all of this stuff about what the app is and how it works. I think in the other one, the original one I had generated was even. Oh, sorry, that's not it. Sorry, Notebook LM instructions. I think this was. Oh, I guess it was about the same. Yeah. Or for this one, I originally asked it to do it for podcasts, but then for this one, I did it for like just multimedia. But so I took this MD file, and I'm gonna switch to my other screen, to my browser, to show you Notebook LM. So entire screen. Okay. So if you don't know what Notebook LM is, it's basically like an intelligent notebook kind of tool. It's Google's tool, so it helps you, like, you can gather different sources from like different formats too. Like it could be text, like links, PDFs, images, etc. And so I could just show you how it looks if you were to create a new notebook. So each kind of I guess you just create notebooks, and you can even connect it to your drive, and it'll. I don't think if you connect it to a document on your drive or Google Docs, it'll pull it in at the time, but you'd have to manually sync it. So it's not like a live synchronization, but yeah, and you can have it search the web. So what it does is, I will switch to this. So this is where I fed the Notebook LM context markdown file that I had Claude Code generate. And so here it would just show all of your sources. In the middle, there's a chat feature. So it immediately like summarized what it got from the MD file. And then you could just ask it questions and it will respond. And it'll give you like citations. Like already it's giving citations on different things. But what I really use it for, I barely use the chat feature. I just really like generating different, like it's really powerful what it can do. You can generate podcast is a very popular feature, and you can even have it like specifically focus on different things. You can even, if I had multiple sources, it would even allow you to decide which sources to include as context. So you could have it in different formats and specify exactly what you want here. And if you get a chance to play around with it yourself, it can even generate like the output in different languages, and it's actually really impressive. Especially when I first used Notebook LM, I was really surprised to find that Haitian Creole was available, because my parents are from Haiti, and I've never seen
so cool.
like that available as an option. And I had it generate something, and it was really good. Like just last week, I showed my dad, and like he's like in his 70s, and he was just mind blown at how good it was. Like it was crazy, really, really good. And he's like, he has like a linguist, like language background and stuff like that. So he was super impressed. But anyway, so these are some examples of what I had it generate. This
So,
was an info.
so it generates
I'm sorry?
content. No, it generates content. Oh, it does infographics, and does it do
Yeah.
like audio and like
Yeah.
videos and stuff too? Oh, okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
it would do.
exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So
I never
yeah,
used this before, so this is really new to me. That's awesome.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, so like I said, like audio, video. The video is kind of, it's more like, it's like a combination between a podcast and like a slide deck. So it's like not, it's not like animated. It's just like explaining stuff, going from slide to slide. I
Oh, I see.
generated,
I see. Cool.
yeah, I had to generate a mind map. So you could, you know, it could branch out into different topics, and then for each like end node, it has like a text file that or like a text content that appears in the chat, and you can ask it questions. I don't really use that one a lot, but you can generate reports. I had this one. This might be useful for like UX designers thinking about the user and like scenarios. So this one just generated like a scenario of a group of friends, like with a problem, and then the app being the solution, and it even generated all this dialogue.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Dialogue. Dude, you have to see the
Yeah.
floating boats.
Yeah.
The heck?
And yeah, so this would end slide deck. So this one, I'm not going
Wow.
to show you too much, but this is actually a new style. I
That
haven't seen it do
is
like
really
this.
cool.
Yeah, this is a really cool style, but generated a lot of, diagrams and explanations. And then I'll show you. So this one, I just created this notebook today, but this is the one I've been using for the past couple of weeks. So I'll show you some examples of. For this one, I actually fed it even like the other MD files I had it generate, and also some external sources like learning about databases and like stuff like that. So like this is an example of. Do you hear the audio playing?
Nah, we
When
don't.
Okay, actually,
That's
I
okay.
need to. Yeah. Well, actually,
It might be like how you share it, and then it says, "Hey, share your audio too."
Yeah,
I'm
right.
not 100%
Okay.
sure.
Oh, I'd have to do the tab. I have to share it by tab. That's why.
Oh,
Okay.
it's fine. I totally understand. That's really cool.
Oh no, I actually.
Got it.
Really dig into why that trusty Excel sheet you know and love
You hear it
just
now?
isn't built for the
Yep.
world of modern
Yeah.
apps.
Yeah.
Okay, check this out. This looks super familiar, right?
Yeah. So
It's a basic
it's
trip
pretty
plan.
cool. Like
You've got
it
your
generates
who's
all.
going column at the exact same moment you're trying to update.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So and this was actually for Zephyr. So what I did for Zephyr Cloud, I had it. This doesn't contain all of the Cloud code sources, but this is all like I just went on the site and like gathered all the links from like a web crawler of the documentation for Zephyr Cloud and had it. So this is a slide. I had it like an overview of like
I
what
think you're
problems
just
it
sharing
solved.
a window
Oh,
again.
my bad. This keeps happening. Yeah, I'll just share the entire screen again. But yeah, so this is the Zephyr Cloud. Yeah, I just gave it a bunch of sources here of the documentation. And then, oh yeah,
Microphone
I had to
is.
generate a slide deck. It has lots of different. Yeah,
That's
this was
crazy.
especially, this whole like how it works under the hood and
Wow.
all this stuff. Yeah, I had it generate all sorts of stuff like overview, infographic of
Oh, that's funny. I could have used this in my
Yeah.
talk because I talked about I had to talk about my micro front ends.
Yeah, and then this was.
Well, you forgot to share the audio.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't
Well,
don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's all right. But this was really like it just. I especially find it useful to instruct Claude Code or Notebook LM to like when it's generating, especially for Notebook LM, like in the prompts, when I tell it what to focus on, I always say like, assume this about the listener and use analogies and metaphors. So like this one, especially, it was really cool because it made analogies like the build plane, like it's the inspector. This one's a project manager, like delivery network, warehouse, and it like really helped me to envision what was happening, and it's really good at doing things like that. So
Awesome.
yeah, and one last thing I'd like to show that's related to what I did with Claude Code was that, so I actually had it, yeah, okay. Oh, I guess it's not updating. Maybe sorry, I showed the wrong thing again. But yeah, okay. So for this here, I actually had it, you can actually ask Claude Code to generate custom commands for you, slash commands. So I had it generate, like, since we're like pulling in repo, like new commits and like branches and stuff for the repo, like the code changes and evolves. So I had it create a command like update docs and then create another like notebook LM file with the updated information.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's it.
Very cool.
Yeah. Any questions?
All right. Stop sharing, and then I'll bring everybody back.
Okay.
Cool. Any questions, comments? You guys better have questions after that.
No, yeah, I was mostly gonna say that's like gonna change the game for learning, and like when you like for like teams too, like if they want like new engineers or whatever to learn things, like that could be a really good way to like learn something new for the team. And like, because the way I learn like self-taught, I use like Google, YouTube, and then I also kept prompting AI over and over to like explain things. So I feel like this will like really help.
Yeah, it's been a game changer for me. It would have taken like weeks for me to get to where I am now, probably.
That's awesome. That's a great testimony, though. That's awesome.
Yeah, because you're having to like search around for stuff, but like, what if AI just brings it all to you? Like,
exactly, and exactly how you can understand it, like Shashi said earlier.
Yeah, I like that word you used in the beginning. That you self-onboarded yourself. I don't know if that's common. That's the first time I heard of it, but yeah, that's like that'd be pretty cool. So as long as a company has good documentation, any starting developer can just like customize it to their understanding.
Hector, let me tell you what, you onboard yourself more than you know. because we don't have time to help you. Here you go, Hector. Go learn it, and then we'll ask your questions. But for the most part, if the document's failing, figure it out. So this is really good for that case. You feed all its contacts, and then you can learn it and all that stuff too. Any other questions, comments?
I would say that thanks for sharing that, because you mentioned that it could be helpful for UX designer, and I could see the potential there. So as we create case studies and we struggle with creating infographics or presentations, so I saw there were like 2 or 3 options that we could use: infographics, presentations, even the videos. So I have to try that. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I think the best thing with Notebook LM is that, like we said earlier, is everybody learns differently. Some people learn with words, some people learn with video, some people with audio, some people with infographics, some people, in different ways. They were a mixture, right? And it's really hard for us to grasp what you're trying to teach us, because like if Hector's been doing Docker for years and he says, here, just read this one page and you should be good, I'm like, what? I'm so lost. Let me go tell AI, take this one pager and put it in the format that I know how to learn, which is more visuals, right, and videos, and then tell me the story and I can grasp it better. Opposed to like me reading information where I cannot do that well. So it's a really cool tool, so that like we've been saying, is you get to learn at your pace, at your style. And I think that's the best thing, because most companies, yes, we do have onboarding docs and stuff, but they're just documents. There's no infographic, there's no pretty stuff, like, no, I don't have time for that. You can go create that yourself if you need it. And so this really helps, right? Like you can just like, hey, like, can you like paint this story better so I can understand it in my way, in my style, with my brain? That's gonna go a long way. So Really cool. Thanks for sharing that. I didn't know anything about Notebook LM until now, and it looks awesome. I'm gonna definitely try it out.
Yeah, glad it helps.
Sweet. All right, Tony, you are up. Ahmed's
See.
face is gonna show up again.
Yeah.
I gotta hide you guys. Hold on. Wait, Tony. Okay, we're ready.
All right. So my name is Tony, and I was working on implementing Zephyr code for our project. And I certainly could have used Caroline's lesson from Claude Code. I'm gonna ask her more about that later. But what for our team, what we're looking to implement is a monorepo with or using NX, and then for our bundler using RSPack and PNPM. So, and then with our front end, having it split into these modules, and so having a micro front end architecture. So several iterations to get to this point, but the way I went about it was to start with NX, and it has some pretty nice documentation, and also has a nice tool to get started. So you install NX, and then it has a create command that will basically build just a vanilla monorepo with no apps, no module federation or anything. So I started with that, and then added in. It uses a generator. And I think some of this stuff can be visible in here, so you can see the nx.json has the targets that are, or here's the generator, for example. So these relate to commands that will get your project started. So like this at nx react, you run nxg and then the nx react, and that will add react to your entire monorepo. And then use another one of these generator commands to add your apps. And so if we're looking over at the folder structure here, we have, well, let me start. So we have at the root, we have that NX JSON that holds information about the whole workspace. We have a package JSON, which has all of the dependencies for the entire project. And then TS configs that are also for the whole project. And so we have this root level in the monorepo that kind of feeds configurations into the applications, and those live here in this apps folder. And so far, this is just an early demo, just to kind of actually get this thing up and going with Zephyr Cloud. But we have two applications, and one is the platform, or you might call it a shell, and that's also called the host application. So in here, we have basically a React application, and the package JSON here is much smaller. It doesn't have all those dependencies. Those are coming from the root of the monorepo. But we do give it a name for the app, and then what port it's going to be viewed on. And so this is one of our our front ends, and this is the platform that kind of ties all the other front ends together. And that'll be visible on localhost 4200. So the other front end is the profile, and so this is you could think of it as a child, also called a remote. And so presumably in our, and the name profile was just kind of arbitrary, since we don't, for our team, we don't quite have figured out how we're going to divide up the application yet. But this would be like a child application that the platform application could consume. And so here we also have our app.tsx. So this is kind of our entry point into React application. And then we also have some components. In this case, again, it's just a demo. So I just have a button component. And what happens is that we have, using RSPack as the bundler and Zephyr Cloud plugin, so there's this RSPack configuration file that has all the needed information for module federation. And then at the very end, we export it and we call with Zephyr, and then call this config file on that. And what that does is when we go to build the application, that actually publishes it to the Zephyr Cloud platform online, which I'll show in just a sec. So again, we're in this profile. This is the remote, and here we have the this configuration, and we're exposing two modules. So one is the root application that is essentially this app.tsx, and we're just calling that module. And then a specific component is a separate component that we can expose and consume in other modules or in the platform. And so once all of this is set up, let's see. So we'll just run the nx command to serve it. And so that's nx serve. And it really works either way. You can serve either the platform or one of the remotes, but I'll just say platform. And then that fires up. You can see in the terminal here that it calls Zephyr, resolves the remotes, and is now it's now going to be showing on localhost 4200. So if I go over here and kind of reload this, and this is what's going to be visible. So we have two different local hosts running. We have 4200, and this is that main platform. And so what we're seeing right here is the entry point on the main React platform, the app.tsx. And then within that, we're consuming the button component that I showed previously. And so this little button is actually being hosted on port 4201 and is being consumed in this in the platform app or the shell. And so that's kind of the power of the micro front ends, is that I can do all sorts of.
Can you show the other port for one?
Yeah.
On a different tab?
Yeah.
I just want to show them the power of Micro front ends.
So this is just that profile, and so it includes the button, but that's just what's being served by the profile application.
Yeah. And then go back to the platform real quick,
Yep.
and then go into your network tab on the right. And then look for
Yeah, let me zoom in.
remote entry. Look for remote.
Yep.
There it is. So this is the other app. Oh, this is actually on your Zephyr right now.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so pretty much, yeah, that red frame is a different application entirely. And like
Right.
Tony said, the remote button is not even housed in the platform, it's housed in a separate app entirely. But because they can talk to each other now, it can consume that remote button because it's being exposed so that the platform can just use it. So yeah, it's once you get further along with this, it's gonna be mind blowing. It's just like, whoa, we can move at different speeds, we can share resources, but then I own this piece of the app, and then you own that piece, or the platform owns the platform, and all of that. Um, and like just the power of Zephyr too. I know he's still gonna show that. So I don't know if you're gonna show like the speed of how it updates real quick, but definitely keep going.
Yeah, I can demonstrate that. But yeah, I think the point is that one team can be working exclusively within this platform folder, and they don't have to worry about any conflicts with the team that's working inside the profile folder. And so that's, I think, really the power of it. And if we go back to the this really trivial demo, but it also has routing. So when I click on platform, that's again, we're on that first kind of shell application. We click on profile, the routing takes us to the profile application. So you can consume components, you can use entire apps as a route, using like React Router or whatever. And so, and while I'm here, so this is the Zephyr Cloud, their interface, and we can see here's our hackathon team, and this is the demo that we're looking at, and we have our the two micro front ends, the platform, and this shows what it's let's see, yeah, this shows what it's consuming. And then if I go back to the profile, and this should show what it's exposing. And to kind of demonstrate what Shashi was saying, if I go to, we'll just change, something simple, some styles or something.
Yeah, just like a button, like do like the button content or something.
Yeah,
Or,
sure.
yeah,
So that's going to be right here in the components button, and we'll say great button.
great.
And I think I probably need to restart this, but it is just.
It's do you have a hot reloading?
Well, it's early days for me, so
Okay.
I'm still kind of figuring that out.
So what's cool is when you have a hot reloading, when you change that in the profile app, it will automatically load it into the platform app. So you don't even need to rebuild, recompile, watch it, all that stuff. The hot reload will watch for the change, and then you get it instantly into both apps. And that's like a danger and a benefit to module federation. Yeah, obviously you have to use it carefully and like you can version it and all that stuff too. But in a case where you're like, okay, this really doesn't need a versioning, if the platform can get this faster, then that's a great benefit, right? And that's what Modular Federation can do. Is like, oh, I'm just gonna feed you the hot reload. You can turn the hot reload on or off. I think it's off by default, one or the other, but you can turn it on and off. And when you turn it on, then when you play around with it, it's really, really nifty because then you're like typing stuff here and it's already changing in the browser. It's ridiculous. Like it's awesome. And to my understanding, Zephyr Cloud does the same thing. Like once you connect to it, when you do that preview app, usually you have to deploy, right, release, all that stuff to get it up there. With Zephyr Cloud, you don't have to because it's connected. Um, and so once you make that change, and if you went to the preview app itself, it has the hot reload mechanism too. And so as you get further along, it's gonna be really cool to kind of see all this come to life. And as you alluded to, you're still early on in this, and that's where I think your mind's gonna be blown away once you get further along with this and be like, oh, this is really nifty for what it can do, and here's the limitations and all of that stuff. And then when you add um, cloud service like Zephyr that can handle the Modern Federation this way, it's a game changer. It makes development and previews faster. Like designers, right? Designers usually like to review stuff. You're like, oh wait, hold on, I have to commit it, I have to push it up, then you can review it. And it's like, wait, no, here's a link, go review it. Like I already have it up and running, and you're moving fast.
Yeah, I'm really eager to start figuring out how we're going to use it with our team, and then really experience the power of it.
Yeah, very cool. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Let me bring everybody back. All right. Any questions, comments? If you don't ask any questions, I'm gonna assume that you're a micro front end expert.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
And I was just curious. I saw you were chatting in the Zephyr Discord with one of their staff. What were they helping with, or what? I guess where did you get hung up, and what did they help?
Yeah, the challenge, I think, is that this there are so many different permutations of how you can configure it that the documentation for any given setup is difficult to find. And also the versions seem to be changing really fast. Like they just keep they keep cranking out new versions, and they're all breaking versions or breaking changes. And so there's little changes with each version. And so just kind of some how to define the TypeScript declaration file, and just some extra just little bits that you need in the JSON, in the RS pack config. So things like that it's really hard to find it documented, but of course these guys know exactly what to do, so it was really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Awesome. Yeah, and something else I found cool about it. I don't know if you mentioned. I know Shashi, you mentioned it. I think in our Discord that something cool about micro front ends is like how they can decrease the average build time for like really large apps. Like, I thought that was really cool. Like if you have an app that takes like 30 minutes to build everything, So I think the example you gave, like even if you change a string somewhere, it has to rebuild for the entire 30 minutes. But with micro front ends, if you separate everything in a like an organized way, it only has to rebuild the parts that change, so it can just rebuild in like a few minutes or however long it needs just for that change to be reflected in the app.
Yeah, that's in combination with NX. Even if you just build a micro front end and housing yourself, right? It's way smaller. And then with NX, because it has connection to all the apps and everything in the whole mono repo, it knows what's a dependency of each other, and it says, "Oh, you didn't touch this, you didn't touch that, you didn't touch this. So I'm only going to reload you, test you, and deploy you. That's it." And so it's super fast. And obviously your app is really small right now, so you can't feel the pain.
Yeah.
But when it gets big, and then you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, this is so much nicer." Germany built this huge monolith, and now I don't have to worry about it. I can just build a profile, and it's like super tiny. I can just ship fast, stuff like that. Like it will happen, and when you go work for company and jobs where teams, like some teams have just a ton of stuff and they just own a lot, and then your team might only own a piece of the puzzle, and you're like, well, I don't want to be capped by the whole entire org. What if we could just move at our own pace, but we're still connected somehow? So that's where it comes in play. Yeah. All right, very cool. Amin, you are up. And I don't have to turn anybody off because you're gonna go on that little picture in picture right away.
Let me share my screen.
Okay.
Can you all see it?
It's still coming. Yep.
How do I hide this? Okay. Okay, do you see this gray background or something?
It's white.
Okay, cool.
Gray, white, yeah.
So, yeah. So, hi, I'm Aman. I'm a UX designer. So, our team conducted secondary user research, and we found a lot of findings when people are booking any flight tickets or when they are planning a trip. So, these are some of the findings that we found in our user research. So, people spend most of the time in the planning phase of the trip, and collaboration is a hassle. So they spend like a lot of time figuring out where they want to go. They look for inspiration, but then some people are not ready to go there. So there's a lot of back and forth, and creating a plan. So these are some of the focus area our solution is. So we are working on. So our solution assists users in these two areas for now. So here's the design of that phase. So this is the landing page of this application where we are asking our users to enter the place they want to visit and how many days they are planning for the trip and what is their budget and their interest. And then there's a CTA which says show me ideas. So everything starts with an idea. So that's where we are trying to be a conversation with the users. So once they have all these things entered, they go to this page where the application is suggesting them some of the location based on the location or based on the preferences they have selected in the previous screen. So let's assume that they are planning a trip to Japan for 7 days and this is their budget and these are their interests. So based on this, the application is suggesting them the location. So you can see on this card, there is a location name, one line description of that place. And here's is where the AI comes into the picture, where it recommends the user why the AI is recommending this place. So in this case, it says recommended because it matches your interest. There could be some other things. It could say that since AI recommended you this location, this is another location that is nearby or something. So it could show the recommendations or the AI can inform users why it is recommending all these places. So on these cards, you can see you have the country and the amount of time people are spending there and the money they're spending there, along with some of the tags. And this icon is where you would save this location or save this location to your idea list. And on the right side, there's an interactive map where you can see all these pins. So if you select this pin, it will highlight what that location is. So the idea behind this interactive map is to let users see how far all these places are, because if you just imagine, if you're going for a 2-day trip and if you want to visit a lot of places, you would like to you would like to live somewhere near here instead of selecting a place which is here and then here, like you would like to have places which is nearby. So that is the idea behind this interactive map. On the navigation bar, you can see we have three things. One is pre itinerary, and then builder, and post. So currently we are on the pre-trip or pre-planning phase. And then the other options that users have is invite, and then this is a save icon. So as I mentioned that collaboration is a hassle, so we are asking our users to invite their friends or whoever they are planning to go for the trip, so that they can also give their input on the ideas or the places they want to visit. So let's assume that you want to know more details about this location. So what you can do is you can click on this card. It will show you this model where it's going to give you some of the more information, such as images, some metadata, and some reviews of that place. And then on the left hand side, you see this image, which is basically a video of that place, or it could be from a YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram, so that we can experience how that place looks like. And from within this model, that they can add this idea to the or this location to the idea list, or they can cancel it, or if they're not interested, they can just click on not interested. So let's assume that they click on this button, so that would be added to this bottom navigation bar. So it would say you have one idea saved to your list, and then they can click on view ideas. And for quick action, there is a save button here as well, so they can just quickly click on this and it will be added to their idea list. Now the second phase is first thing is collecting all the ideas from the users. Once they have all the ideas, you click on view ideas, you get to see this list, where now it shows you all the ideas that was selected in the previous step. Now in this stage or this screen, people have the option to select whether they actually want to go to these location or not. So here's the voting system for the users. They can either click on must do, down, may, or skip. If they select must do, that means this location would be added to their trip, and if they skip, that means it will be removed. The other two options are there, so that is like maybe kind of uh, places. So once they again click on must do, it will be added here, like you have one idea is confirmed, and then they can click on start planning. And if they click on this card, they get to see this screen where it again shows you some more details about it, like a video of the location and some information like metadata. And they can also select, like put their vote on this idea. And there's just some quick options for them, or quick action for them, so they can just go to next idea or previous idea from here. So once they have all the ideas selected and voted, they will be added here. Once they click on start planning, that will they will move on to the second phase of the screen, which we are still working on. So that is all the screens for the pre-itinerary phase. And there's another option of chatbot here, where the users can chat among themselves to decide whether they want to go to these places or they want to switch any of the places. So that is the screens for the first phase. Any thoughts, feedback, questions?
Awesome. Um, Anybody? Any questions, comments while the screen's up? You can come on off mic if you want to.
Do I need to stop sharing?
Yeah, I think this is really nice how you guys researched
Mhm.
about this and then understood that, collaboration is key. Because yes, when you travel with someone or a family, right? Like family, like there's like six families, and you're like, what should we do? I want to do this, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, most of the time they want to go together, right? And then sometimes I'm like, I don't even want to do that. Now you
Yes.
can go in and kind of like suggest things and vote and like get ratings and all that, to make sure that you're going to have the most optimal itinerary. I think
Mhm.
that's something that's really difficult. Unless it's something that somebody's like, no, I really want to go there. I don't care about the ratings, but it's something that I've dreamt about, right? And it's like, okay, fine. But
Yeah.
being able to create the itinerary is going to be really cool too. Like, just like, hey, this is what we all have voted on and agreed on, and like
Mhm.
visually, it's all there. All the hype videos are there, and I hope it can also do it where you can explore, right? Where you like, if you're typing the AI agent or recommended, like, oh,
Mhm.
based on the things that you're choosing, have you have there's this secret swimming area where you should check out, right? Or
Mhm.
whatever it is. Because there's always going to be things when you travel where there's a lot of hype over the touristy spots, but there's always those like hole in the walls or those like insider spots where you're like, oh, only if somebody knew of this place or this restaurant or whatever it is that then I could like go there instead. So that would be pretty interesting too. But obviously, that's not the happy path. that would be something
You're gonna
interesting.
have to wait to see.
Oh, okay.
Is what I gotta.
Kind of
Oh, okay,
thought of
okay.
something in those terms, so we have to see if that is possible or not.
Yeah, don't worry. Like these are ideas and stuff because obviously the happy path is the key.
Mhm.
Anything extra is gonna be awesome,
Yeah.
but really cool. Any other comments or questions for Amin? Sweet. Go ahead, Jeremy. You're gonna say something?
I was saying, nice job. I
Oh,
liked the UI.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks.
awesome. Well, great job, everyone. I let you guys like go on. Like it's supposed to be 5 minutes each, but most of you guys took like 10, 15 minutes, and I'm like, it's okay. Let's get this going. Let's get this flowing. Because I want you guys to have the opportunity to share what you're doing, right? And I don't want to cut you off and stuff. And so this is exactly what it's meant for, is to give you this opportunity to just present what you're learning, what you're doing, and all of that stuff. And so I hope that we can get the rest of the individuals in here demoing, because like a few of you have done this many times, twice now. So, and continue to do it. Like, continue to do it, continue to push it out there, because all this learning and all this sharing is only going to get you better at presenting. But not just that, like presenting in a technical manner too, because it is hard when you have to sit in front of like leaders and managers, CEOs and stuff, and be like, hey, can you present our product to all of them? And you're like,
Mhm.
I haven't done this before. Like, this is scary. I mean, you probably done this, as a designer, had to
Mhm.
present to groups and stuff. So it's another skill, right? And the more you do it, the better you get at it. And the better you're like, okay, I need to clean this up. I need to do that better. I need to organize this better. I need to continue to push out or emphasize things. And that's why I emphasize things, because I used to go back and not watch myself, but like play in my head, like, oh, when I was talking about this thing, I think I was saying it too fast. So now I should slow down and say
Mhm.
stuff, because then I can enunciate it and pronounce it better. Opposed to like screaming it and saying it real fast, and like, yeah, nobody understands it. It's like, so there's a big difference. So yeah, definitely. And for those that are watching and gonna watch it later, continue to follow us. We're gonna be doing demos once a week. Um, Hopefully in a few weeks here we could do like a mid hackathon review and demo stuff that's not super secret, but showcase like some small features or something, because I think that's going to be really cool to see. um, like with all this technology and all the AI things that we're learning, um, it's really exciting because just from all of you sharing all the things that you're doing, like this is on the forefront of just learning in the development world, right? Learning AI, learning model federation, learning Docker, learning with Zephyr itself, like just learning how to interact with them, learning how to use Figma MCP, all these tools and solutions. It's going to go a long way in your journey. So I'm super stoked about the growth that everybody's having, and it's been like really interesting to kind of see what comes out of it. Some of you guys are taking this like to another level of like using AI, like with um, was it Notepad LM? Notepad LM, like that. I'm just like, whoa, like that. I've never even seen that before. And then Alex is like continuing to push the button with going to these meetups and learning from people and learning how to context, like provide better context for the AI. All these things, really cool stuff. I'm learning from you guys too. Like I said, like I'm learning along with you guys too. I'm not that far ahead of you guys. So it's a blessing for me to get this opportunity to lead you guys, but also learn from you guys. So definitely follow us next week, next Tuesday. Not sure what time yet. I'm trying to do it later so that those people that have jobs can demo as well. That's why today was a little later. But we'll see. It might be earlier, it might be later, but continue to follow our journeys. Thank you.